What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to our Google Classroom. And I'm going to download Lewis's Photoshop file. Let's go to classwork. Let's go to all right. So in this case, Lewis does not have 8 JPEGs. He has a very, very large Photoshop file. Okay. That's not what I wanted, but all the information is there, so we're going to go with it. So I'm going to just hit these 3 dots, and I'm going to download it. You can also go here and just download it, but the idea is you don't want to export it, you want to download it. So you just hit download. Now, fortunately, I've already downloaded it, so now I'm going to go to an app called Photopea. Okay, it'll take a while to download because it's actually a very large file, but I'm going to go to the app Photopea and I'm going to do File Open, and I can open it from my device. Okay. Now, there is a way to export all the layers as JPEGs. The problem with that is that it's going to zip the file, and I don't know of any good way to unzip a file on a Chromebook, so that's not what we're going to do. What we're going to do instead is we're going to go to the very bottom layer, and we're just going to start looking at the different layers. So this is a sketch, and he redrew it digitally here. So this is actually what we want, and the other one is, this is not what we want. So we're going to say this is the first scene in the story, and we're going to do File, Export as JPEG. And we're going to call it Frame 1. Okay. So we're going to hit Save, and it will download to the device as a JPEG. And it's called Frame 1. And that's what we want. Now we're going to hide this, and we're going to unhide the next one. You see how there's a sketch here? We don't want the sketch. We want the finished one. So we're going to do File, Export as JPEG. And we're going to name it Frame 2. So lather, rinse, repeat. You're going to do this for each of the 8 frames in the story. You're going to unhide the correct layers and export each one individually as a JPEG, which should not be a big deal because there's only 8 frames in the entire story. Just make sure to name them 1 through 8. Actually get out of Photopea completely. We don't need it anymore because we have our 8 frames. Okay, so let's get rid of Photopea, and we can also close out Google Classroom. I don't need that right now. And now I'm going to go to WeVideo. So I'm going to go here, and I'm going to go to WeVideo. You're going to log in using your school account. You just have to close this. You're going to use your school PAPS account to log in, and you're going to go to Classic, not Classroom, but Classic, and then you're going to go to Projects, and then you're going to go to hit the plus sign here, and this is Lewis's, so I'll just type in Lewis. And I'm going to hit Personal, and then Next. All right, you hit Next, and then you're going to create video. Now, first thing you're going to do is you're going to import frames 1 through 8. Now, you're going to see that you can't upload your Photoshop document, and you can't upload anything from a zip file, so they're not even appearing here. you can just upload the JPEGs. So that's why I export everything as JPEGs. I'm going to hit the bottom one, hold the shift key, and hit the top one. And that selects all 8 of them. And then I'm going to hit open. That's why you had to export your stuff as JPEGs, because it's not going to actually see a Photoshop file because it's not an Adobe product. Okay, if you go down here, you can see that this is frame 1. So I'm going to drag it down to the video timeline. This is frame 2. You can see the names of them. That's really nice because really important, because you don't want to get the order wrong. Frame 3, frame 4, frame 5, frame 6, frame 7, and frame 8. Okay. Now, let me just show you what the video is going to look like. It has a preset number of seconds for each frame. So you're going to want to change how long each frame appears on the screen when you start telling your story. Some of them might want to appear for a longer period of time, because you're going to still be talking about what's going on in one frame when the picture suddenly changes. So I'm going to explain how to do that. So you can see how it's a perfectly serviceable animatic right now, but now it needs a narration. So I'm going to I need to make this frame longer, okay? If I try and pull it out longer, it's not working. It's not becoming longer because these other frames are in the way. So if I just click and drag, I can take these frames and pull them down, which will make room so that I can make this one longer. So you can actually curate the length of each frame depending on what you're saying, what the narration is, what the story is. But if there's frames right after it, you have to pull them out of the way temporarily so you can lengthen the frame that you're trying to change the timing of. And then you can just click and drag all the frames, right click and close gaps, okay? So you can actually curate the timing of each frame. If I want this frame to last longer, I just have to grab these ones and pull them out of the way and make this one longer. Okay? So you can actually change the timing, and then when you're done, right click, close gaps. If you don't close the gap, you're going to have these black spaces in between your video, which is going to be very distracting. Now, the next thing that we need is to add a title at the beginning. So it says here text. Before we add text, we're going to add a background. So just hit see all, and you're going to try and add an interesting background. I like this one with the clouds because I think, it's like a Superman character, so clouds are nice. I'm going to just bring it here to the very beginning of the story, and I'm going to pull it down onto the timeline. So now I can just take everything, right click, close the gaps. And now this is what the intro to the story is going to look like. It's this sort of animated thing with clouds. So at this point, I'm going to add text. This is my title, my opening credits. So I go to text and I hit see all. Now, I don't want text that has color in it, like this sort of thing where it's got solid color, because I already have a background that I put in there. So you probably want something kind of simple, and this black background means that it's actually transparent. So I like this one. I'm going to bring it down here. I'm going to pull it out so it's about the same length as my my title, and then I'm going to double click on it, and I'm going to change the color. I want the color to be black, okay? Because I've got this white background, and white on white, it's not going to show up too much. You could pick any color. I mean, you could pick blue. It doesn't matter. I actually kind of like the blue. Okay. And you can also curate the color this way, very similar to Photoshop. So I can make it darker blue. I like that. Okay. Now, You can make the capitals, the text all caps. You can, put who created it. Okay, so you can also make the it says auto font size. You could turn that off and just make the font bigger. And maybe make this font smaller. So you have a lot of control over exactly how it looks. When you're done, you go up here and hit done. And let me show you how the text is going to look. So if you want like a different style of text, I can just delete this. And then let me take this one. It says here, hurry up, sale ends today. I can just double click on it. Change the palette to a dark blue. Now let's see how this one looks. You hit done. I'll pull this out a little and you'll see how it looks. So experiment with different text and see what you like. If you find that the text is just staying on the screen too long and it's getting boring, you can push it back. You can also push back the background so that the text and the background match. Okay, now, so that's for the title. You can also add ending credits the same way. Now, I'm going to take this, right click, close gaps, and now we're going to talk about audio, about sound. So one of the things that you are going to want to do is you probably want to add some sort of music. So, and you may also want to add sound effects. So I'm going to go to audio and I'm going to do swish. Okay, so let's see how we can play around with this music. Okay, I like that. I like this. So I'm going to take this audio and I'm going to bring it down here to the audio timeline. Okay, so this is how it looks now. Okay, so you can add all sorts of sound effects. For instance, here, there's lightning. Okay, so let's go here and just put in lightning. Okay, so I can take that and put it here. Okay, so okay, so you can see how adding sound effects really enhances a piece of art. Now, I'm going to add another track, and it's going to be another audio track, so it's going to be at the bottom, and I may want to add in music. So I'm going to just put in Superman music and see what I come up with. Nope. Superman. Okay, let's see. So let's see. Let me put in superhero. See if I can get some interesting music here. Superhero music. Exciting hero adventure. Okay, that's actually kind of cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this music and I'm going to add it to the Audio 2 soundtrack. Now, there's a couple of problems with this. One, it's probably going to be too loud. And second of all, it's definitely too long. If you don't edit it, what's going to end up happening is you're going to get to the end, the screen's going to go black, and the music's just going to keep playing, and it'll be terrible. I mean, nobody's going to want to watch it, and everybody's going to wonder if something's coming next, but it's just your poor editing. So you need to hit split, and you need to get rid of the extra. But now it just sort of ends abruptly in the middle of the song. So it's going to sound like this. That's no good. It's just ending abruptly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go here to audio and opacity, and I'm going to show audio levels. Now, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to take this blue line and I'm going to bring it down so that all the music is really background music, okay? But I'm going to take this end of it and I'm going to actually have it fade at a certain point. So it's going to be at this pretty low level, and then at the very end it's going to fade. So it's going to sound kind of like this. Let me just go here and play it. Okay, and actually I want it even quieter because I don't want it interfering with the lightning crash, the swishing superhero, or other sound effects. So I actually want it to be real low background music. So let's just try it now. So that sounds good. It's got like this nice background feel to it. And then I'm going to go over here. And it does not interfere with the lightning strike either. And then nicely go here. And it just sort of fades off at the end. That's what I want. Now it's time for your voiceover. Okay? So I'm going to go to the very beginning, and I'm going to go to My Media, and I'm going to hit Narrate. And this is where you add your voiceover. So now I'm going to hit record, and I'm going to start telling my story. Once upon a time, blah, 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 Superman, yada, 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 money, thief, blah, 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 bad guy. So let me just hit stop, and I'm going to hit save. And you're going to see that the voiceover is on the bottom layer. Now, what I suggest you do is just tell the story, do the entire voiceover first before you do the music and the sound effects. Once you're done with the story, you can adjust the length of each slide so that the right picture is appearing at the right time underneath your story, and then add the sound effects and then add the music last. So the nice thing about this voiceover is, once upon a time, blah, 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 Superman, yada, 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 money, thief, blah, 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 blah. Okay, is that you can actually move it to different parts of the story. And you can also, let's say there's a part that you didn't want and you felt like was in the middle of the story, like maybe you coughed or something, or there was a part where you said, and you forgot what you were going to say. You can actually go into the middle of it. So let me just play it. Let me click on it and play it. Once upon a time, blah, blah, blah. I don't want the blah, blah, blah. I just want once upon a time. So I go here and I go, once upon a time. Okay, so I know that I don't want blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to hit split. And now I'm going to go and blah, 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 blah. Okay, so now I hit split again. And I can take this middle part out. I can just hit the backspace and delete it. So now let's see. The beginning part should just say once upon a time. Once upon a time. Okay, so the word time got like kind of cut off there. So what you can do is you can take this and push it out so that you have a little bit more room. So you can see where the track begins and ends. And you can just go here and pull it so that the word time doesn't get cut off. So hold on. So yeah, I got rid of the blah, 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 blah. So now I can take this and move it down and it'll sound pretty seamless. Okay, so Superman, yada, yada, yada. Okay, money. So the word Superman got cut off a little. I can just go here, pull it a tiny bit. Superman. Okay, and so there, I got the whole word Superman in there. So you can very much curate and edit everything that you recorded. I highly suggest that you write it down and have a separate piece of paper with it written on it, and that you do the whole thing in one take. And then you can adjust the pictures accordingly, then add the sound effects, then add the music, then adjust the audio. Now, the other thing I want to talk to you about is sometimes people like to put in transitions. I personally find transitions to be pretty cheesy. So they're here, you can play around with them, but I honestly would just do a crossfade, a blur, or something like that. Or no transition at all. I think that sometimes for an animatic, you want the story to move seamlessly. The last thing you want is a transition because it distracts from your story. The other thing is, and you can do this, is sometimes you want to take a picture and you want to animate it. So I'm going to show you how to do that. You just double click on the picture and you go to animation. So this is its starting position. Now I'm going to go to end position and I'm going to scale it up, and then I'm going to move it so the ending zooms in on his face. So that kind of gives the whole thing, an expressive quality. So let me just hit done, and I'll show you how it looks when you animate one of the pictures. So blah, 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 bad guy. So you see how that added sort of a dramatic edge to it? When you're totally done and you're happy with your picture, you're going to hit finish. And then you're going to name it. So then you're going to, after you've named it, this is super important. I'm not going to be exporting this right now because obviously it's really not a finished piece of artwork. But let's say it was finished. Let's say I had the opening credits, the sound effects, the voiceover, the music, and everything just sounded terrific, and I was happy with the finished project. I hit HD instead of SD. I hit the destination. I want it in my Google Drive. So click on this, mark your export as public, and then hit export. You'll get a notification in your school email when your export is ready. So what you're going to do is you're going to go, let me just go to my school email and I'll show you. Let me just go to my PAPS account. All right, so here I am in my school email. All right, so let me find here a WeVideo export. We go to search. All right. So here's a WeVideo notice that I got an export finished. I'm just going to go here to WeVideo, and it says play video. All right, so what you need to do is once that happens, you're going to click on this, which will download the video. Once it's downloaded, you're going to put it in two different places. One, you're going to put it in, you're going to go to Google Drive, and I want you to put it in your portfolio folder. So if I just go here, under shared with me, Luis Enriquez portfolio. So if I go here to shared with me, you can see this is Lewis's portfolio folder. I can just put in here the exported video. While I'm here, I'm going to put in his frames since I already did them for him. But you're going to upload the video to this folder. And then when you're done, you're also going to turn it into the assignment. You need a copy in your folder, and you need a copy in the assignment, because when you turn in your assignment, Google thinks that I now own the video. So if you try and embed it in your website, it's going to think that you don't have permission to share it because you already turned it into me. So by putting a copy in your folder, you maintain ownership of the video, and you can then share it from the folder and embed it into your website. And that's basically the entire workflow. I know it was long, but I wanted you guys to understand that all of this can actually be done right from a Chromebook, as long as you have your 8 images. And even if you don't have your 8 images, as long as you have your Photoshop file, you can open them in Photopea and export them, and then you'll have your 8 images. The other thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that if you go to Photopea, and you do file new, change it from pixels to inches, it's very similar to Photoshop. So let me make the width 8 inches, make the height 4.5 inches. I'm going to make the resolution, which is the DPI 300, and I'm going to hit create. So if you wanted to, if you hadn't done this assignment, you were really behind, and you wanted to create your 8 pictures, all you'd have to do is do layer, new layer, and in your new layer, you could actually draw right on your Chromebook, because our Chromebooks have touch screens. So I'm going to just go to the paintbrush tool. I'm going to change the size to I'll change it to like 7 pixels. Okay. And then I can just close this. I'm going to go right here to my paintbrush tool, and with my finger, I can draw right on the screen. So as long as I'm in a new layer, I can create my character and create my story, and each layer will later then be a JPEG that you can use in WeVideo. So there really isn't any reason, being that you can do all this on your Chromebook, that anybody should be getting anything less than 100 on this assignment. All right, so best of luck, and let me know if you have any questions.